Welcome back to the Messianic Hour. I'm your host, Rabbi Scott. The show is dedicated to reaching the lost and educating the found. And I'm here today with my good friend, Rabbi Marty Cohen. Rabbi Marty Cohen is from the great state of Texas.
Indeed, I am.
And he is he is a man of many talents. Not only does he lead a congregation, but also he does the teachings on the Torah scrolls. He was here just a few weeks ago, and he also helps churches and Messianic congregations to lead tours to Israel. And I want to encourage you, if you've never visited the land, you got to go. Don't say, oh, I want to do it one day.
Right.
You need to do it because it is literally life-changing. The motto of Israel is, once you go, you'll never be the same. And that's so true. We're already planning our trip for this coming up year. We're working on dates right now. But, Marty, why should someone go to Israel? What's the connection?
Well, I mean, the very first thing, most believers today, they like to say, oh, I love Israel.
Right.
That's hot. But the best way you can show your love for Israel is to be in Israel.
Right.
I've had groups that I've led there back in the days when the Intifada was at its peak, that we were stopped on the streets of Jerusalem with people thanking us for being there. But aside from the fact that you're supporting the nation of Israel by going there, you're really supporting yourself. I've been ministering in churches for, over 25 years, and I've told countless congregations that if you love your church, whether or not you like your pastor, if you love your church, the very best thing you can do for yourself is send your pastor to Israel. I've had the privilege of taking nearly 100 pastors to Israel, and they've all agreed that aside from it being good for them, it changed them,
right.
It changed their church. Because when you're opening the Word and you're teaching the Word about a place that you have in your mind, that you've just seen, you've just been there, it just brings the whole Word of God to life. They say that time in the land is the fifth gospel. It really does make the Bible come alive like nothing else ever can.
Marty, you said that, and I take trips all the time,
right.
But this was the first time, this last trip, that we went to the Nazarite village. This was done by the YMCA. They have made it look like at the time of Yeshua, and gives you that image. And
right.
I remember we're going through, and you know as well as I do, because it's in the Palestinian-controlled area, that the guides usually they have to stay very strict to what they say, and they can't show any support. Well, the woman realized, and we're in a big group of other people, several groups together, and the woman realized, though, that I was a Messianic rabbi. And by the questions our people were asking, because it wasn't the normal questions they were getting. But when we go into, they have a synagogue that made that, to look like, actually one that looks like where it was in Masad.
Right.
But it gives you that understanding of what it is. And she asked me to do they have a tradition where they would have someone read from the scroll from the book of Isaiah, like Yeshua did, and I got to do that. And then she said, "Would you like to add anything else?"
Oh,
asking a rabbi if you want to add anything else. So for the next 20 minutes, I got to I did a little mini sermon on that, and but it was for me it was life changing, because I could actually say, here's an area like what Yeshua did, going in, and so you're right. The motto of Israel is, once you've been there, you'll never be the same, and it is so true. We did a tour, and we said the best way to stand with Israel is to stand in Israel.
Absolutely,
and that's what we need to show our support for the land.
That's right.
Because of the fact of what's been going on. Now, and you hear this too. We were at the pastors' conference together, and a pastor was sitting there at a table, and his response, his question was, "Is
what
it
about
safe?"
the security issues?
And both you and I answered that. That's a question everyone has.
Right.
We always hear people say, "I'll go to Israel and there's not going to be a war there." Well, then you're not going to be there until the return of Messiah, because there's always going to be wars and rumors of wars. That's where it is. But what do you say to someone who says, is it safe?
Well, pretty much when somebody asks me if going to Israel is safe, I know right away they've never been to Israel, because people that have been in the land realize how safe it really is. The number one source of revenue to the nation of Israel is tourism. But something that you brought up today at the table is that the number one source of revenue for the Palestinian Authority is tourism too. because when we're in the land, we don't just shop at Jewish stores.
Right.
You know, we shop at Arab stores, and we go around and we spread the wealth, all right? But
one of my favorite stores, your favorite store too, it's the wood shop. We buy all the olive wood.
absolutely.
And he's a Christian
That's right.
Palestinian
From Nazareth.
from Nazareth. He makes it in Bethlehem, the wood.
That's right.
And the
This is
Israeli
his.
government, actually what's on our table is from him. And the Israeli government and many others asked him to move and do a shop in Jerusalem.
Right.
And he is a real blessing.
That's right.
And so you're exactly right.
We're there. But, you know, I tell people, you know, if God's ready to call you home, he can find you wherever you live. But if he wants to call you home from Jerusalem,
It's a local call.
that's right. It's a local call. It's a local call. Yeah, you know, people go to Israel and they want to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. And, you know, you can't go to Israel and not, because it's a small country. But as small as it is, what you learn when you get there is it's very, very deep. And everywhere you go, you're going to be coming across the places where Yeshua was, the places where the disciples taught, where things happened. And even in the Tanakh, in the first covenant, you know, you're walking in the land of the Torah. And there's nothing at all like it. There's nothing, anything.
Another thing, too, is that no tourist has ever been injured in these tours. And so people say, oh,
Right.
When we were exchanging stories, I told of one when we were planning this when you could go to Bethlehem.
Right.
And our tour guide came up to me the night before and said, look, we can't go in there tomorrow because from 1 to 3, they're going to be rioting.
Right.
I mean, the Israeli government knows what's going on.
They stay on top
They
of it.
have constant contact with the tour companies.
That's
All
right.
the tour guides have phones.
Let me
They're
tell
not
you,
going to take you to places.
I was at Mukraka. Mukraka is up on Mount Carmel, and you're actually, we were standing on top of a monastery so we could look down the hill overlooking the place where Elijah defeated the prophets of Baal. It's an amazing place. And I was up there teaching, and 3 jets flew north, and then 3 more, and 3 more. And when the 4th sortie of 3 jets flew north, I stopped teaching and said, look, folks, I don't know what's going on, but something is. We're going to stop and pray. So we stopped, we prayed for the soldiers, the pilots, and whatever was going on. And by the time I finished the teaching and we got back down to the bus, we were scheduled to spend the night at a hotel at a kibbutz guest house, Nakshalim. You've probably been up there. It's right on the Lebanese border. Well, those jets were flying north because that was the very day that Israel withdrew from South Lebanon. And so that night, the people at that kibbutz guest house, they were staying in their bomb shelters. And by the time we got down, I mean, the planes flew over, and within 20 minutes, our tour company had already shifted where we were going to stay that night. And so it's a very safe place to be, and it's a place that'll change your life forever.
It really is amazing. You and I also know we have many connections of people in the land, stores. Both of our favorite, Danny Boy on Ben Yehuda Street.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows Danny.
He's the kippah man.
Yes, he is, and the
In
shofar
fact,
man.
This kippah came
from
Danny.
shofar came from him.
Yeah.
But and they love the Christian community, the Messianic
Very much
community,
so.
and they really respect the Messianic community and the Christian community, because when all this stuff was going on,
we were the only ones going to Israel.
Exactly. Tourism was down, but the Christian tours or the Messianic tours were up, so they really appreciate that.
In fact, back in 2001, it was the height of the Intifada, and tourism was at an all-time low. And I had a group, and we were having St. Peter's Fish Lunch at Engev, all right, which is a great place, right on the water. And the waiter came to me. He says, "Weren't you in here week before last?" I said, "Yeah." He said, this is the same group?" I said, "No, it's the second group." And he said, "They're Americans." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why are they here? Aren't they afraid?" And I said, "Oh, no, these are Christians. They're not afraid of anything." You see, fear is the opposite of faith. And so I just encourage you to let your faith rise up and get to the land. Get there any way you can, as soon as you can.
We have about 10 seconds left. Give them your website real quick. It's on our site too, but real quick.
It's ChristianHolyLandTours.com. It's kind of long, but ChristianHolyLandTours.com. And there you can find out, you can join every single week. We've got guaranteed departures with group pricing. So
That's right.
come to the Lamb.
Check it out. It's on our website. Until next week, this is Rabbi Scott saying shalom and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Amen. Shalom, shalom.